What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode,
Facts.
chatting about another World Cup game that we just finished watching. It
Yeah,
is the semifinals, so France and Spain just played,
facts.
and unfortunately, we saw one of our favorites to win get knocked out of the World
Facts.
Cup,
Yeah.
being France.
Yeah.
So, Millie,
Yeah.
yeah,
France has now been knocked out of the World Cup. Of course, they were one of our favorite teams at this World Cup for so many reasons. Because of all the football they played up until this point, and of course the manager Deschamps being a former player, manager, and everything he's dealt with this tournament with his mom passing away. Of
mm,
course, we were rooting for France and hoping that France would prevail and make it to another final.
yes,
Obviously, since they were cheated out of the last World Cup final, so it was kind of almost like a redemption story for France. You wanted them to make it to the final and get another opportunity to hopefully play a fair match of football.
yeah.
But yeah, they just didn't make it that this time. So super disappointed. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, what would you say kind of did you see anything that necessarily went wrong for France or
Yes,
okay.
a lot of
I
things went
was like,
wrong
was
for
Spain
France
just the
today.
better team
Yes,
or
also
yeah,
yes. I mean,
okay.
there were a lot of factors, right? Like Spain is bar none the best footballing team on the planet.
Oh,
They
wow.
are the
Okay.
best. They are phenomenal on and off the ball, defensively, going forward, and in the midfield. They are phenomenal.
Okay.
So 100% Spain is the best footballing team in the world. You can't really dispute it. The way that they were able to make France look like a pretty bang average team today really speaks volumes to the quality that Spain has. And I
Hmm.
said it to you during the match, but Spain has so many players that are not only talented on the ball, but they're also
Yes.
such hard workers on the defensive side as well. And that's like immensely important because, when you have a team of hard workers who are constantly closing the opposing team down and constantly working in groups, it gives you a massive advantage
Hmm.
because none of those players are bigger than the group. They're all part of like the same team, the same idea, and they work like it. They're not pressed about the glory. No one's trying to be the hero on this Spain team. They're just trying to win games, and
Yeah.
they are a serious footballing team. That's the reality about it.
Okay. Wow. And so France got kind of played off the pitch a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, France was the second team on the day by bar none. Like they just weren't even close. It's like I know there were an early injury to the center back and such like that, but the reality is France just really never showed up.
Mm.
They only had 3 shots on target for the entire match, and 2 of those 3 shots came in the extra like injury time in the
Wow.
stoppage time.
Oh,
So they
so
weren't
that's pretty
shots that
bad. Yeah.
happened anywhere in the first 90 minutes. So it was just a little too late for France. They were absolutely dominated in the midfield. The French midfield was non existent
Mm.
today. Spain was all over them. They won the ball back quickly, stopped French counters, prevented the French team from even looking in behind. I
Wow.
mean, just completely dominated them in
Yeah.
all aspects. So I think the midfield battle kind of reverberated throughout the rest of the pitch. France couldn't get a hold of the ball. And
Mm.
throughout this tournament, they've been a very possession based team that can hit you on a quick break, but also is going to dominate the match. And Spain, really, really made it look like child's play. They
Yeah.
took France completely out of the game. Olise, Mbappe, no one could really get on the ball. No one could really create anything because Spain was
Mm-mm.
so quick to double, triple team and like really close them down and force all of the attacking players backwards. So this was the most quiet we've seen, like Olise and Mbappe, but
Yeah.
neither of them were able to create anything. And that really stems down to the Spanish team just being so dominant in all key areas of the pitch. So I think France's midfield was the number one letdown for them. Losing that midfield battle throughout the entire match, it
Mm.
just prevented them from being able to create anything because they're not a team that typically like plays very direct football. They're not a team that goes from center back to forward. You know what I mean? They're
Okay.
not just going to ping the ball and try and counterattack. But again, essentially what Spain did was prevent them from being able to build through their midfield, which kind of
Mm.
forced France to stay in those wide areas and kind of keep the ball away from the midfield. And so when they did have possession, it just wasn't dangerous at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Spain really prepped. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. And I mean, look, Spain they are the European champions. They just beat England
Oh,
in the Euro
okay.
final a couple years ago. So they beat France in the semifinal to get to that final at
Got
that
it.
point. So this Spanish team and the Spanish manager, they know how to prepare for France. They know how to prepare for the serious players, for the way that France tries to play. And yeah, France just wasn't really able to find that next level today. They weren't able to lock in their key guys, get them
Mm,
on the ball, and truly create any dangerous opportunities. And again, Spain has only given up a singular goal at this World Cup.
wow.
And so to
So,
have only given up one goal at the entire tournament thus far, and to stop this French team from having even, I mean, they only had 3 shots in 90
yeah,
minutes. It's
serious.
baffling.
There's something
Yeah, it
serious.
speaks volumes to Spain. And again, hate to say it, but because he's a City player, but Rodri in the midfield for Spain, he's immensely important. He controls the tempo of the game,
Got
but
it.
not just for Spain, for the other team as well.
Wow, okay.
He is masterful in the midfield. It's kind of frustrating watching him play.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Um,
because how does that, like, how does he dictate that for the other team? Like,
Well,
what is that like for the other
I mean,
team?
essentially, France was afraid to play in his vicinity.
Mm,
None of the French midfielders were comfortable picking up the ball with him anywhere near them. So when people were playing in the midfield, they were essentially avoiding Rodri's sphere of influence.
okay.
So he was essentially scaring their play away from him. And it was because of the fact that every time France tried to play in his areas, he was winning the ball. And when
Ah,
he won the ball back, France had to work so hard to try and win the ball back from Spain because
okay.
Spain is just so good on the ball. All of their players are so technical, are so calm under pressure.
Mm,
So they're so able to take a touch out of pressure, connect the pass out of pressure, and then immediately they just calm back down.
got
They
it.
just switch the field. They just keep the ball moving. And because they take so few touches individually, it makes the other team have to just run and run and run. So
Okay.
that's what France ran into
And they
today.
get tired.
Yeah, so France really struggled to win the ball back because Spain was so good at getting out of those tight areas
Okay.
and winning the ball back in those transitional moments. But Spain wasn't rushing their attack. They were in no rush. They were okay with, winning the ball and then, all right, let's go back to the goalkeeper. Let's go back to the back four and let's find our shape and start connecting our
Yeah.
passes.
Yeah, they
Um,
had a lot of really good plays. I mean, they
yeah.
had what, one goal taken away or two?
Yeah, they had one. I think they had. I know Yamin Yamal's goal was taken up
Right.
back for offsides. I'm not sure about if they had another one, but
Okay, but then they
at
had the
least one
penalty as
goal.
well.
Yeah, the
So that
penalty, which
was,
again,
yeah, what
semi
were your thoughts on
controversial.
that?
I mean, it is 100% cut dry penalty, right?
Okay.
Like again, the defender clearly kicked Yamin Yamal, missed the ball completely.
Yeah.
He only had eyes for the ball, but that doesn't really help you in a situation like this. The only point of controversy for me is, did the ball hit Yamin Yamal's arm? That is the question
Hmm.
because he leaned forward with his shoulder. And if you move your arm like that to make contact with the ball, that is not a natural position. That
Ah,
is an extended arm. So from the movement he made and where the ball made contact, which was right above his elbow in this area, and in addition to his arm movement upwards towards the ball, I would say handball.
yeah,
And
wow.
again, like, you gotta wonder what the VAR is watching in these back rooms, in these things. What are they watching?
I know.
Because yes, it's a penalty, but the penalty is essentially mitigated if it's a handball. And so if
Ah,
it's a
like
handball
nullifies it.
first,
Yeah.
right, then it shouldn't have been a penalty kick. But again, you gotta wonder what they're watching in the VAR
And
press
what's
box.
their like
Um,
threshold for,
yeah, because
yeah.
it just isn't consistent at all. So this one was on the edge for me because again, if you're gonna say Yamin Yamal's was a penalty, then the French player who's fouled in the second half, he was fouled on the line of the 18-yard box,
Mm.
and technically on the line is in, so that should have been a penalty, right?
Oh,
Not a foul outside the box. Obviously, Mbappe skied it, but again, what is VAR watching? Did they
right.
look at where the contact on the French player's foot was made? It looked like it was over the line. So, are they dissecting things that thoroughly?
Right.
I
I
don't
mean, if
know.
we're playing everything in slow motion, I
They
sure
should
hope they
be. They
are.
should be, but they're clearly not. And I think again, it just speaks to the fact that the people who are making these VAR decisions, they're not people who have played the sport, right?
Yeah,
And so when you don't understand like just core level of football because you've never actually been out there on the pitch, of course you're going to have a hard time judging the sport because
definitely.
I mean, it's just it's just a baffling situation with FIFA. But at the end of the day, that's neither here nor there. Regardless of that call, Spain was bar none the better team
Better
on the
team.
day,
Okay.
and they would have scored regardless. They had opportunities to score. They could have potentially scored more goals, especially late in the game when France was
Yeah,
pushing. So yeah, I don't think the call made or broke the game per se. But again, you got to ask questions of VAR when there's an arm movement involved in the play that has caused the
right.
penalty. And then
Should it have been taken away?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think there will always be those sorts of questions, but nonetheless, on the day, France was just not good enough. They didn't bring enough. Their midfielders were not on it. They did nothing to counter Spain's midfield dominance. You know, whether that would have been putting an extra guy in the midfield, whether that would have been having Olise kind of as a makeshift extra midfielder coming into the
Mm,
center and allowing Mbappe and Dembele to kind of be as the two lone strikers in moments of the game. Not
yeah,
saying you had to line up like that, but could there have been a fix in game to kind of deal with Spain's dominance in the midfield?
that's a good point.
You know, that was really what could have made the difference for France. Had they
Definitely.
been able to take control and maintain the ball a little bit more, they might have been able to build something. But yeah, I think overall they were outclassed. And now I think bar none, Spain are the favorites to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think they have a pretty big weight on their shoulders, especially if they face Argentina in the final.
England,
Yeah,
we are rooting for you
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. It's all up
We
to
are
England
rooting
for
for
real.
you.
But
Spain versus England, that'd be a sick
that
game.
would it'd be a little rematch of the
Little
Euro
rivalry, yeah.
2024. So it'd be a good
So,
redemption for England to
England,
get an opportunity back at Spain again, who we know are their rivals who beat them last time. So not in the World Cup, but in the Euro
but in the Euro,
2024.
okay.
So yeah, that would be a phenomenal match of football. I think, you know, if it is a Spain Argentina match, we're just going to see Spain pass the ball around for the entire 90 minutes. Argentina will be lucky to get 300 passes against the Spanish team.
Okay,
Honestly, it will
dang.
be a brutal final for all parties involved. But if it is England, I would expect there to be a little bit more football just because England is a team that can hit you on the counter,
Ah, okay.
and is okay with being a little bit more direct. And we know Harry Kane will drop into the midfield and probably disrupt Rodri when Rodri's on the ball. So England
Mm,
is a little bit better suited to face this Spanish team,
okay.
because of the way they play and because of the way they have floating players, and also have some players who are really good ball winners. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But
Yes.
I think that is the ideal matchup for the final. It would be a Spain England final,
Yeah, that would be super
of
cool. I
course.
definitely, I really hope England
Shows
comes
up
through
tomorrow. Yeah,
tomorrow,
yeah.
makes it to the final. I think that would be a super cool matchup to see.
Yeah, me too. Especially
Definitely.
hearing like what the energy in England has been like surrounding the World Cup, just how happy
Yes.
the English people have been. And, you know, they haven't really, I guess they lost at this stage in the last World Cup, but needless to say, they're still in like their 60-year trophy drought for the men's national team.
Yes,
So
literally.
it could be massive
We're
for
rooting for
England.
your
Yeah.
bank holiday, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the English people will get a free holiday if they end up winning the World Cup. So a
So,
lot on the line for the Brits.
give you a little extra
um,
incentive to be
yeah,
keeping up with it.
exactly. But yeah, so France, you know, a lot of reflecting for Deschamps. You know, this is probably his last World Cup as the manager of France.
Okay.
So sad to see him go, definitely. But I do think, you know, bringing in Zinedine Zidane could potentially bring a new perspective to this French team and
Okay.
hopefully help them kind of solidify their midfield so that they can be at that next level at the next World Cup. Because again, with the players they have, there really isn't an excuse for not reaching it to the final. But again, they were just outclassed in the midfield.
Yeah.
So that's probably the start of where their team rebuild needs to happen, you know, figuring out who the best players that can partner each other and truly, you know, be a dominating midfield.
Yeah.
Because again, Olise, Mbappe, those guys need service. Dembele, they need players who are gonna play to them and win those midfield battles to be able to allow them to be the creative players they are.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and that's what France was lacking today. You know, they couldn't get their creative players into
I
the
know,
match.
not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Literally barely saw anyone.
yeah.
Like no Mbappe,
No,
no
you've really heard their
Dembele,
names.
no
No.
say
Meanwhile,
yeah.
Spain completed like 1,000 passes. I
We're
mean, they will
yeah,
pass you off the pitch. I mean,
that's
the
crazy.
only player on the Spanish national team who has permission to take more than 2 to 3 touches is Yamin Yamal. He's the
Mm.
only one who's running at players. And Danny Olmo through the midfield will run into spaces sometimes. But for the most part, that team is so disciplined in their passing, in their organization, in the way they support each other, not only in passing shapes, but defensively. I mean, it is a
Mm-hmm.
unit. That is a team. That Spanish team. I mean, and watching them today was really eye-opening. I don't think you could really appreciate how well they played because they weren't doing it to like top tier opposition.
Ah,
Not that
okay.
Belgium isn't a phenomenal team, but this is France. So for Spain to really dominate France today really highlights just how next level they are.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I think
Wow.
it comes from just all 11 of their players and all of the bench. They're all bought into their goal. They all understand it. They made subs, and the quality of their play didn't drop at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that again just speaks volumes to not only the Spanish 11, but the depth they have on their bench.
Yes.
It could hurt anybody. So whoever they meet in the final is going to have. It's going to be a fitness day, lads. I'll tell you what. If you are playing against Spain in the final, you will be running. Trust that. That's just the reality
Yeah,
because you will have
valid.
to chase them to get the ball back.
Dang.
That's the reality. Or just sit somebody on Rodri.
Oh,
Gordon's a good workhorse, right? If he's going to start, go sit him on Rodri. Maybe that would shake things up for
for
Spain.
real.
but yeah, that's a
Let's not get
serious.
too ahead of ourselves.
Yes, true.
Tomorrow, England.
That's true. I'm just assuming England's going to smack that ass. I'm sorry. I assume so. We
Yeah,
watched
they
Argentina play
better.
in the last round. That Argentina team cannot play football. The only reason they escaped the quarterfinal was because of the red card and VAR intervention.
I
They
know,
will
so
not play
annoying.
anybody off the field. They don't play good football. They're not attractive to watch. Every game with them is just a street fight in which the referees call everything for them. I mean, think about this statistic. There are 48 teams in the World Cup. Of the 48 teams in the World Cup, 47 of them have had calls go against them. The one team at the World Cup who has not had a single VAR call go against them is Argentina. That says it all.
I thought you
End
were going to
argument.
talk about the statistic that they're the only ones without a black player on their team.
Oh, well, that's also a fact.
Also, that.
Yeah, also that's a more of a historical
Yeah, that's
issue.
more. Yeah.
But yeah. Needless to say, we don't support Argentina. Us and all our friends hate Argentina.
All my homies.
All my homies hate Argentina. But anyway, those were our thoughts on the Spain versus France game. Spain is now advancing into the final of the World Cup after defeating France quite easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spain is next level. They're the team to watch. They are by far the favorites to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
So see what happens.
See what happens if you made it this far.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.